Hi, this is the help video for Excel Chapter 2, Pause and Practice 1. We're beginning on Step 6, and this movie will do the remainder of the steps for 2-1. So Step 6 is really all about how to validate your data, your formulas when you're in there. So let's put our cursor on D17. So we talked a little bit about what this formula means. If I come to the formula bar and do trace precedence, you'll see arrows that point to the pieces that comprise that formula. So it's a visual way to see what elements, and you can see this one, this one here is off of the sheet. It's another sheet. It's a 3D. So let's go to E16 and do the same thing. So you can tell that our formula worked because look, they're on different rows down here. They're on different rows, but they both go back to row 11. And that works because we locked in the 11, but we let the letter of the column change. That's why that works. Let's go ahead and remove arrows. And it talks about the show formula, which is this right here. But honestly, the key I always use is Control tilde, and that's the key above the tab and to the left of the 1. It's like a little squiggly. If you click that, it opens up. You click it again, it goes back to showing the results. Same thing here. You can click, it shows you the underlying formulas. Click, it goes back to showing the results. When I inherit or get a spreadsheet from anybody, whether it's something I have to continue working on or just validate, first thing I do is turn those formulas on and see the lay of the land, right? Just see what's going on. Because you don't want to delete something that has a complex formula and you didn't realize it was a formula. Another thing I like to do for my sheets is print out in formula view. So I would open all these up and I would actually print it out in case something were to happen to this file. I have the documentation of what the formula was, right? Okay, so that's that. 7, we're going to edit a formula and correct an error. So we're going to select H15 to H18. We're going to go to the auto sum. Excel's going to automatically understand that to the left is the data that I want. So I went up here, and I did it without saying it, and double-clicked between H and I to expand that column so I could see that. Now what I want to do is I want to make a mistake here. So let's go to H16 and double-click. We're going to change this to B15. Okay, so I now have this little green arrow, right, that's up here. So if I go into that cell, I get this little like caution symbol thing. I can click down and find it's inconsistent with the formulas around me. That may or may not be valid, right? It's inconsistent. So we want to correct it by copying the formula from above, okay? So anytime you get the little green, go to the little caution yellow like road sign and look at what it's saying. It may be okay that it's inconsistent, or in this case, it's not. So we're going to fix it by just copy formula from above, and we're good. All right, so B21. So in this cell, we want to determine the profit margin. So a couple things you need to know about a profit margin. One is it is expressed in a percentage. And 2, the profit margin gives you a percentage of profit from the money that you take in minus the expenses, right? So the formula is that you take revenue minus expenses, so money coming in minus money going out, and divide it by the money coming in, right? So we want the revenue minus expenses to happen first, right? So if I were just to do this like this, equal total revenue minus expenses divided by revenue. Look at that. Think back to our order of operations, our order of precedence. It's going to go left to right. Okay, there's no parentheses. Left to right, there's no exponential. Left to right, we're looking for multiplication and division. Oop, here's a division. It's going to take B19 divided by B11. Get the answer for that. Then it's going to come back and find the subtraction. It's going to take B11 minus the answer to this, and it's going to be wrong. Okay. What we want to do is we want to elevate that subtraction operation to happen first. So when we begin our formula, we're going to do equal. We want to put a parentheses because remember that's the top of the pyramid, so to speak. It's the top of the operations. It's going to happen first. So now we're going to take total revenue, which is B11 minus total expenses for April, which is B19, and your parentheses. So we're saying, hey, do this thing first. Then, once you have that answer, divide, so the slash, by your total revenue. Check mark it, and you get this 0.23, or you might get a 0. It just depends because remember, profit margin is expressed in a percentage. So we have to take this decimal number, and it all depends on how this cell was formatted. If I go home and I look in my number, I want to find this percent sign. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to change that number from a decimal to a percentage. So that's exactly what we want. So then we're just going to copy it across to column G. So now for each month, I have the profit margin, right? So it looks like August was the best month, right? It brought the most money in, which kind of makes sense. I mean, it has the most expenses, but the overall margin is a little bit better than the other months. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is name a cell and cell ranges. So up to now, we've only done formulas that are using the cell address as defined by the letter number combination. But there are a lot of times where you want to name a cell or a range of cells because it makes it easier, right? If I want total revenue, I'm always going to have to remember in Cass Lake, it's H11. If I want to use that in any kind of formula, on another sheet, whatever. But it would be much simpler if I were to sit on that cell and come up to the name box, right, where it says H11. I'm going to click, leave it highlighted like that, and then just type over it, total revenue, enter. You have to hit enter. You can't click off of it. Hit enter. And now this cell can be referenced by the letter number combination of H11, or it can be referenced by the word total revenue. So let's select another one. We're going to do total revenue, but for months. So B11 through G11. We're going to go to the name box, and this time we're going to do monthly underscore rev. Now, let's talk a little bit. So for this one, we did total revenue altogether, right? And we did what's called camel case. The first letter of every word is capitalized, making it look like the humps of a camel. This one, we put an underscore to separate the words. You either have to put them together or put an underscore. If you put a space, Excel is not going to like that. It doesn't understand that. Because a space means you're done and then you start typing more letters. So it gets confused. So I did monthly underscore rev, enter. So now I'm going to click wherever, right? And I'm not sure why that has, had that borders on there. So now if I want to go to any of those or use any, look, go to the name box and look, there they are. If I pick total revenue, it takes me there. If I pick monthly revenue, it highlights that. So I can then use that in cells. All right, so let's come down here to 10, and we're going to select B6. So we're going to select B16 through H18. We're going to pick comma style, decrease decimal twice. Then what we need to do, see how this one has decimals? So we got to fix that. We like the dollar sign. We want the commas, but we just want to decrease it twice. So everything is all lined up. We're going to go ahead and save, and we're done with Pause and Practice 2.1. Thank you.